In this video, we're going to share with you some of the great things about the MSC Seaside, some of the crappy things, and most importantly, pro tips we're going to be giving you to make the most of your next MSC Seaside cruise vacation.
Cruising.
So you may have heard a lot of different reviews about the MSC Seaside. Well, what's true, what's false, and what do you do with the actual reality of what's going on the MSC Seaside to make it a good experience for you? Well, as we highlight some of the great experiences that we had on the MSC Seaside, it really does start with the theater, the Metropolitan Theater, the main kind of entertainment venue for the ship. Each of the shows every night, super kid-friendly, family-friendly, but then also very entertaining for the adults as well. Most of the shows are acrobatic, kind of like a Cirque du Soleil show, and they feature...
There's pieces woven into it, it's not the whole thing.
Yeah, similar to like an acrobatic set to music, so there's not a ton of like plot lines to follow in several of the shows other than what's theatrically kind of conveyed through music, song, dance, kind of different segments. So really, kids can understand it. Any language can probably understand it. Very entertaining. Favorite show for me personally was Timeless. And if that Timeless show is offered on your MSC vacation, be sure to book it and show up early. Timeless, about the back 2/3 of that show is the Michael Jackson featured act. And let me tell you something, the entire dance crew nails it. It is done exceptionally well. Probably the best of 3 Michael Jackson impersonators that I've seen actually in the last 6 months. The MSC Seaside takes the cake.
Good.
So also a couple of other shows to mention to you are The Wizard. Now The Wizard in and of itself, we had a 4-year-old that was with us, and he was a little bit scared by some of the dramatic what would you call it?
Makeup.
The makeup and the costumes and everything of The Wizard. But again, very entertaining show. Peter Punk was a great show. All ages, you're going to enjoy that. So that's a real great feature of the MSC Seaside.
And we did miss a couple shows, so I know some people had said, well, this show is opera themed, we don't understand it. So we may have missed that one if there was, but we didn't catch that, so we didn't have that experience. We loved the drink vouchers. We each got 12, so it was great. The boys got non-alcoholic, and we got bar and restaurant vouchers, so that was awesome. The gelato that can be found throughout the ship, it can be found up on 16 by the pool deck, it can be found at the back on deck 7. It can also be found in the jungle pool area. You do have to pay for it, so it is an additional cost unless you have the drink packages. Some of those are included, or if you're, I can never say it as Aria, the Aria level, also that is included. So but the gelato is definitely, at least get one if you don't have it included in your package, is excellent. The coffee actually around the ship was very good. There's some bars that a lot of times just have a latte, a cappuccino, very good. Notice in the main dining room when we had breakfast, it was really strong and really potent.
Just like I like it.
Ugh. So not my favorite there. However, still good. Yeah. The buffet had great coffee. It came out of this big, giant carafe type thing, but it was excellent. I want to note that the Deck 8 buffet, Marketplace buffet, had outdoor seating and indoor seating. Indoor seating all the way around and outdoor seating all the way around. Really great to be able to sit outside, especially when we were in port. It was fun to sit outside and watch the other ships.
I don't know if I ever recall not being able to find a table. I mean, you had to look a little bit when it was real busy, like on at sea days, but
yeah, we never had trouble. I will note
even
that
with our large party,
we didn't have any rainy days when there were a lot of people on the ship. It did rain a couple times, but not at a time that would have been a high traffic area. So I think that might have been a little bit different.
That's true.
Had it been raining and they couldn't have used the outdoor seating, because there were a lot of people on the outside.
Well, the MSC Seaside is the ship that brings you closer to the sun.
Yeah.
So maybe it doesn't ever rain on the MSC Seaside. I don't know.
We felt that the food quality was good. It wasn't the most amazing food we ever had, but there was really nothing we thought terrible.
No, I mean, the MSC Seaside was half the cost of like a Royal Caribbean or Princess ship.
So this is just, yeah.
Okay.
So it was good. We felt very satisfied after every meal. The portions were, according to others, some ships a little bit smaller, but for us, we felt it was great. We ordered a couple appetizers, we ordered couple entrees for that matter. Every night at the buffet, or I'm sorry, at the dining room, main dining room, they had a kids menu, which was great. So our boys could choose kind of more of a simplified entree. They had a kids fruit plate, dessert, things like that. I will say we were traveling with a group of people, and in the main dining room, I ordered a dessert, which was molten lava cake. It was amazing. And then one of our group members also ordered it. Very different experiences. Dining room the same evening, similar time. However, mine was good, hers was not. So just, again, just a kind of a tip. I'm gonna jump ahead to the tip here. If something isn't good or to your satisfaction and you feel like, I would like to try this again, just send it back and try another one. They're willing to work with you, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's not like you're buying individual molten lava cakes.
No.
Order 3 of them if you want.
So I that would just be my encouragement to you if you get something and you think something might not be quite right with it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, another great thing about the MSC Seaside were the staff. Really, maybe it was because it was a newer ship. Maybe everybody was really excited to be on there and working, but the staff was just downright friendly all the way across the board. Heather and I have been on some ships in the past where we couldn't necessarily say that about everybody that we interacted with. But the MSC Seaside staff, if they knew our names, they used our names, even the kids' names frequently. Specifically Albert, our steward, our room steward. He was just very accommodating to both of our kids, used their first name often. It was really, really, really tremendous. And even when the staff were off duty, we noticed that they would wear their name tags even in civilian clothes, street clothes. So it was like they were always wanting to be known as, like, I am here to help you. I'm available to help point you in the right direction. They were always available and super, super friendly. Case in point, on the way back from a cruise port, there was little kiosks that were set up, like little cabana tents that MSC sets up right outside of the ship as you're getting back on, with cucumber water. Sometimes it was like a hot towel or something.
Cold towel.
Cold towel to wipe yourself off with. It's like, that's like something you would see on like a celebrity ship or like an upper scale ship. But MSC Seaside really does roll out the red carpet, literally, for their guests and their passengers.
Yeah, and then kind of getting back on the ship from the ports of call, we were at the Bahamas, we were at Puerto Rico and St. Martin. All were great ports to visit, and just would highly recommend that itinerary if you're considering it. Also, jumping back to a couple more good things on the ship, the Forest Adventure Park for the kids. Great area in the fact that it had some good shade. So when the kids were out playing in the sun, you could put some sunscreen on initially, but when it came off, at least they were protected a little bit. So I appreciated that. And then also, I think, though, my favorite pool is still the jungle pool, especially on a port day when it was a little bit quieter. My youngest and I were playing in there for a while, and we just had the place to ourselves. There's probably a half a foot of water.
That's the covered. It's optional to be covered.
Yep.
Pool,
so if it's raining, it can be covered. There was a big section of just a very shallow area where he played. So if you have a couple pool toys, that would be something really good to bring along for that area. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. So that was the good. There were definitely other good things, but those are the things we wanted to highlight.
Now for some of the things that we did not like, and let's just be honest, no ship is perfect, but these things really need to have some improvements.
Who's bad? So these are some of the reviews we definitely agreed with. A lot of people have said the Marketplace buffet on deck 8 or the Biscayne Bay buffet on deck 16, a lot of repetitive foods, and we agree with that. Every day when you circled around the buffet, you were going to see pretty much the exact same thing. Always going to see burgers and hot dogs, always going to see a Mediterranean, always going to see a Mexican option, but it didn't feel like there was very much variety. Maybe one day they'd throw out a different pasta, but that was the extent of it. So if you didn't like those options, you were kind of stuck with it. So for us, it actually worked out okay. Wasn't bad. We didn't mind it, but that was kind of a negative, and we do agree with people's reviews on that. One kind of disappointing thing for me, or at least not a huge deal, when we were in port at St. Martin, deck 16 was closed for the buffet. So the Biscayne Bay was closed. So
Biscayne Bay buffet.
Yeah, and the sad part is that was the only place with the soft serve ice cream. So kind of a disappointing. We were on the ship. We could have gone up there to eat lunch and had some ice cream. I know, it's a huge. But that we didn't see any notice that that buffet was going to be closing when the ship was in port. So that was kind of a
So
disappointment.
really, this is less about the buffet and more about Heather getting her ice cream fix. So MSC Seaside, listen, just put like 2 or 3 other soft serve
Down
ice
on
cream
8.
stations at various locations of any place.
Yeah, that'd be
Let
fun.
us just take care of it ourselves.
And I will say that I was in the Deck 16 buffet, and other people were coming in to eat, and kind of the same thing, like, what? It's closed? What? So I think just keep that in mind. And also we did notice that only half of the buffet at 8 for some of the port day was closed as well. So really they have a very small section. They expect a lot of people to get off the ship, which I guess is good. They're not wasting food, but it is kind of a surprise when you go looking for it. And like I said, not enough ice cream, soft serve ice cream. And that is a huge thing I look forward to on the cruise ship. And they had one soft serve machine on Deck 16. And I think the longest line we stood in was at least a half an hour while we waited in a line that was ridiculous.
Not cool, MSC. Not cool. Make Heather angry.
Another kind of their interpretation of some of the American foods, like biscuits and gravy. Apparently our friend had the biscuits and gravy, and the gravy was really just runny and kind of brothy. I don't know. So I didn't have...
That's the Italians really trying to pull off some, Southern cooking American things. There's French fries and hamburgers and hot dogs every day. Those are options.
That's fine.
But, it's like the Italian version of all those things. So, hey, get over it. Just, embrace it. When in Rome, literally.
Okay, so,
Eat what the Romans eat.
Okay, so we're moving on. So, I had the experience of watching someone in the main dining room, and they asked for their group of 8, hey, I'm here. She was one person. She was there. She said, can you seat me? And the hostess would not seat her, and she was not pleased. And I heard the hostess say, if I seat you, I have to open the table. It'll cause confusion. So, and I guess in the hostess's mind, it made sense, but the passenger, the guest, was not pleased with that answer.
Yeah.
And as I was waiting for my party, because I was also waiting for our group, as her whole party came up, I heard her saying over and over, they wouldn't seat us. And so I think those types of things have happened repeatedly, where I think that sours the trip for some people.
Policy was clung to by the staff member. And
so I mean, it wasn't that busy. I really think she could have at least let her sit down personally, but rules are rules. I don't know. So I guess I just want to say, like, as you're reading and there's reviews, sometimes they're legitimate, absolutely, but sometimes they're one person's experience, and we may not have all the facts behind why. So I just encourage you to just take the reviews with a grain of salt. Sometimes they're very true and legitimate. Towels were only provided in the stateroom, and then you had to take them to the pool. We're
talking about your pool towels.
I'm sorry, the pool towels, not your bath towels, fortunately. So I forgot the towels one day because that wasn't on my radar, and so the kids were swimming, and it was like, what do I do? They had a towel exchange for dry towels, but they wouldn't just give you one, so that was a little frustrating. Because then I was like, what do I do with my kids? How do I do this? So I didn't like that. And maybe other cruise ships have it. I know Royal Caribbean, you could check out 20 towels if you want. You just add it to your account.
Cruise pass, yeah.
So I guess kind of along the pool theme, and we talked about this in another video, I did not like the Forest Adventure Park when all the water cannons were on. When they were all off, I thought it was a great place for my kids to play. When they were all on and constantly spraying water everywhere.
It's pretty intense. The splash pad is like a war zone for kids between the ages of 8 and 12 I would say. So like really young ones, that splash pad, it's going to be pretty intense. Our 4-year-old was pretty nervous in that space. I mean, he wouldn't really do it without me.
Yeah.
And the water cannons there are like, they're like a power washer.
Yeah.
They're so like they would hurt to stand close to them, and they literally can shoot across the whole Forest Adventure Park. The best was this little kid who, like maybe 3, 4, I don't know how old, went up, grabbed one of these water cannons, moved it all the way over, and started blasting somebody's grandma who was sitting there watching her grandson.
Yeah, like again,
just blasted her.
She's like trying to get away from the water.
I didn't know if she had a bathing suit on.
She didn't. The kid is just spraying her. So again, awesome. That was one of those things. Hey, I'm gonna ask and see if I can make this change. I don't like this. And I said, can we turn the water pressure down? And the pool attendant kind of looked at me and rolled his eyes. So No, they can't. It's either all on or it's all off.
But he did it in a friendly way.
Not really. So, again, keep that in mind. MSC, like, appreciate the effort behind it, but whoever designed that did not take into effect, like, little kids. Like, anyway, so that's
all right.
Opinion there.
Okay, another thing that is not so good. Now, this we didn't experience. We were on deck 13. There's actually a 13th floor on the MSC Seaside, which, you know, in the U.S.
They don't have 17.
They don't have 17 because that's their bad luck number. But anyway, so we're on floor 13 is where our room was. But on floor 15, we had friends that were staying up there. And they claimed that, like, at 5 or 6 in the morning, when the pool attendants would come out and start setting up furniture on deck 16, so their stateroom is on 15, the pool deck is on 16, one right above, they would hear scraping sounds as furniture and chairs were getting positioned in the morning. So, pro tip, you know, kind of in advance here, try to stay at least a deck away or at least far enough away from the main pool areas because it's probably not too pleasant. If you're a light sleeper, it'd wake you up early in the morning to hear that pool furniture.
Yeah.
Another thing is that we booked rooms with friends. We had a couple of friends that we were able to travel with, even on deck 13 there. And we booked rooms right next door to one another. Balcony rooms with the intent to open up the balcony and have kind of a free-flowing space to go back and forth. And when we got on, we realized that they had a new policy in place that while the ship is in navigation, they cannot open the balcony partitions, which is fine because it makes sense for safety. Like, they don't want wind catching and flapping.
It doesn't make sense.
But at the end of the day, that's one of the main reasons that we got rooms next door to one another, so that we could kind of have, you know, access to each other's rooms with the kids and everything. So we did work around that by, when we got into port, requesting that they would open it. So just while we were in the port. But, you know, that was one thing we were a little bit disappointed by altogether. The other thing that I felt was kind of a little bit odd is the ship's layout. There's really not many hallways to get from point A to point B.
In main spaces. You're not talking about the hallways with the
hallway.
cabins.
Yeah, the room state, that's all like a very narrow hallway. That's all the same. But the in the main, like, restaurants and bars and all the different venues, you have to walk from venue through another venue to get to the next venue. Just kind of felt like it wasn't necessarily completely clear of, like, signage of, like, what is located where. You just find yourself the first day or two exploring the ship to try to learn where things are. And the other thing I would say about the elevators specifically, many of the elevators I felt are either small or too small for the quantity of people that try to ride them.
Absolutely.
So they're all, like, you know, kind of like the economy-sized, you know, elevator. I didn't feel like there was too many that were very, very large. And regularly, I found myself packed in an elevator full of people. And several times, like after dinner evenings and shows and stuff, you'd go up and down floors, and there'd just be no space for the next wave of people. So you'd be waving at people as they were expecting to get on an elevator. There was just no room for them to be on an elevator.
So, real quick story. The last day we're getting off, we have our bags for express checkoff. And we'd already waited for like 5 elevators. Everyone had been full. We finally get in an elevator. We open the door, and our elevator is packed. So not only bags, but it's people, our family, other families. And this family is there, and this dad just says, "We're no longer waiting," and shoves his son into the elevator with his bag. Well, then the door won't close because the son's backpack is blocking the door. So the son is like leaning into the elevator, and we're like holding him. But then the funny thing is the elevator opened up right across as it finally closed, and his dad got on that one. But it was like his dad just was like, "I'm not waiting any longer," even though there was no room. It was really annoying. But whatever. Moving on.
So.
Okay.
Another thing that you may be aware of is that Rob happens to be a little bit of a germaphobe, even though I go on cruise ships. I love Royal Caribbean has hand washing stations everywhere, and Royal Caribbean staff are always telling you, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. Well, you don't really get that on the MSC. The staff were not like forthright about saying, make sure you wash your hands before entering a dining. Yeah. There were certainly sinks to do that, and there was hand sanitizer.
But half the time it didn't work because you're standing there. So, and people complain about this, and we complain about it too. It really wasn't. You didn't feel like if you wanted to wash your hands or you needed hand sanitizer, it was available for you.
So yeah, we were washing our hands. You bring hand sanitizer with you. I always bring it.
If it's important to you. If it's not,
it's so important. But I couldn't help but think like how nasty it is for like half the other population on this ship. They're not regularly washing their hands. And you add that on top of all of the reflective surfaces. There's shiny chrome and reflective railings everywhere on this ship. And you cannot help but see smudges all throughout it. They're cleaning now constantly.
So does it make you feel like it's dirty?
Well, it does, because it's like, these things are beautiful, but they're smudged everywhere.
Yeah.
And so anyway, that's one thing, like design. Not that I would want to, like, I don't know. They are cleaning it all the time, but it just seems smudged all the time too. And the other thing too, for you folks who are considering the Araya balcony rooms, those are those super extended balconies where you have like all of that ample space.
And it seemed like a lot of them were on deck 9.
So just be aware that everybody from deck 10, 11, 12, and 13 can look right down into your balcony and see what you're doing down there. And you probably won't have as much privacy as you hope to have, because the upper floors are, at least where we were on the ship, were kind of set in from the edge, and the Araya balconies went all the way out to the edge. So literally, you'll have almost no privacy on all of that bonus area. Just be aware of that.
Yeah. So if
that's
why you're booking it,
that could be disappointing.
Keep that in mind. Yeah. So anyway, all right.
Now it's time to move into the pro tips.
Okay. So I guess the first thing for the tip is this is your vacation. Make it as good as you can. If you have a problem with something, address it if you can. But what I would advise you to do is address it, treat others as you would want to be treated. So if you go up to guest services and you're yelling at them, they're probably not going to be very responsive. But if you go up with a smile and you say, please help me, they probably will. I went to guest services like 3 or 4 times and it was great. So keep that in mind. You have to link your credit card to your cruise account on ship at a little machine. The first day, a lot of people are standing in line, swiping their credit card.
It's like kiosks.
Yeah, little kiosks. There's some in the casino. There's some around the main piazza area by the dining rooms. Don't worry about it the first day. Just make yourself a little Post-it note or timer on your phone. Just do it the second day. You'll walk right up. You'll have no problems. It literally took like 30 seconds. You swipe your cruise card, you swipe your credit card, you're done.
But don't wait till day 3, because I don't know if day 3 you can do it.
You'd have to go to guest services probably. I'm sure you can, but...
Oh, I heard that you got 2 days to link your credit card. Otherwise, you got to pay cash.
Oh,
that's what I heard.
That would really stink. Okay, so... If you have been to ports previously, one of the things you can do if you want to enjoy the ship is just stay on the ship when everybody else gets off. We did that. St. Martin, we did get off the ship and shop in the little shopping area right outside the ship, but then we got right back on. We had the buffet to ourselves. We had the pool areas to ourselves, so that was really good. One of the room tips, if your kids are used to rules or if you yourself are used to putting your dirty clothes in one spot, bring a pop-up travel hamper. You can throw in your room, just throw all your dirty clothes right in that, or designate one of the suitcases that you bring. If it's empty, just say throw all your dirty laundry in there. So that's just kind of a nice, like, a go-to spot.
That's right. Another tip for you to be aware of is to bring an empty water bottle with you to be refilled. The buffet areas and a lot of areas around the ship have got fresh, clean drinking water that you could just fill into that, and then you don't have to be buying a bunch of water bottles. So just bring an empty bottle and a little dish soap, and you can wash it. Wash dishes on your own. The other thing, like we said earlier, is to bring hand sanitizer with you. We bring those little portable hand sanitizers, stuff it in my pocket, got it with me wherever we're at. So if we want to get some gelato or whatever, we don't have to go find a hand washing station. Just boom, use the sanitizer, you're good to go. Another thing that I like to do is to bring a snorkel with me. We found this to be exceptionally helpful in the Bahamas. We stopped at Nassau. You can bring it right to the beaches at many of these different ports. But then you kind of make your own excursion by bringing your snorkel with you. So that's a great pro tip as well. And always bring a little bit of laundry soap with you. At least this is what I do. That way you can pack a little bit less. You can wash your gym clothes or whatever. And it doesn't necessarily wash them like a washing machine would, but it kind of gets it about 50% clean. You're
going to be offered a survey. Probably midweek, they're going to ask you to fill out a few questions, and then they're going to say win a free cruise. I don't know. It's probably just a good way to get you to fill it out. But be honest, but also... it's very important for the servers and the room stewards to get a 10 or most excellent response. That's what their gratuities are based off of, I believe, and that's like one of the only ways they can advance in the company. So it's just really important that you take the time to fill that out. And I'm going to note on that, if you're going on the cruise and you're purposely planning to take the tips off at the end, I feel very strongly about that. Like, build that into your budget. These people work hard, and the tip money that we give daily is daily gratuities. It's going to the people cooking your meals. It's going to the people washing your sheets and your towels. And I don't know. I'll leave it there, but...
Don't be stingy. If you can't plan to do gratuities, or if you think that's going to be a way that you cut corners or whatever, just don't go on a cruise. You should go to a timeshare. You should go buy a timeshare.
Anyway, we feel very strongly about that because these people are away from their families. Anyway, they're working very hard. Also, you are going to get probably like a 21-page or a document with all your cruise information.
On PDF.
And a
email.
PDF right before you cruise. You will need to be able to show the little barcodes when you check in. They will scan those. But there are also, if you have any onboard credits or if you purchased any wine packages or specialty dining.
Be a summary of that on your account.
You will have a summary of that. I would advise taking a printed out copy of that. And here's the reason why. We had, because of our MSC Voyagers and our status match, we had an onboard credit. And we had it on our voucher, but when we checked out, we noticed it wasn't on our bill. Unfortunately, Rob had to go stand in line at guest services the last morning, along with very many, a lot of people, but whatever. But having that voucher, that printed copy, we were able to check our final bill in the morning. So I guess I would just advise.
And they honored what I brought them. Actually, there was a discrepancy between our bills and the actual, and that document was very helpful in proving that we indeed had onboard credit.
Yep.
They applied it, and we were good to go.
And it was worth fighting for. So.
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, do you like to work out on a cruise ship? Just know that on the MSC Seaside, the very worst hours to work out there are between 2 o'clock p.m. and 5 o'clock p.m. The gym is absolutely packed right after lunch. Go earlier in the morning, go in the evening, wide open. Just keep that as a pro tip in mind. Another thing is that the Aft Elevators, which means the very back of the ship, if you can get to those, they'll deliver you right to Deck 8, which is the back entrance to the
buffet,
the marketplace buffet, the main big buffet. So if you're looking to get quick access to the buffet and you don't want to try to navigate all the different ends of the ship, just wherever your room is, walk to the very back of the ship, grab those elevators, go right down to 8, and boom, you're walking right into the buffet. Excellent pro tip for you to keep in mind. Let's see, another thing is that the Seaview Lounge was a great location, a great venue for us. We found it to be really helpful to have dinner, then take the kids over to the Seaview Lounge, listen to some live music. Girls would have like a little drink or something. Chocolate martini or whatever over there. And we would just wait for the entertainment show to start seating people into it. So it's a nice place to just pop in for like 30 minutes and have a nice little transition. Another thing, pro tip here, if you're going to be traveling with friends, do request having rooms next to one another. And while you're at those port days, request to open up that balcony partition. We were in Puerto Rico pretty late, I think up to like 9 o'clock, whatever, that night. So we ended up on that evening, while we were still in port from like 7 to 9, going out on our balcony, just hanging out. We ordered in some room service for snacks, and we just had a great time enjoying looking at Puerto Rico, watching the sunset, and enjoying time together as friends. So open up those balcony partitions while you're at port. And another pro tip to consider, you probably have seen in some of these other videos how your cruise key card is the thing that they're encouraging that you would use in this little box that's inside of your room that kind of turns on the lights.
It's the power for your room.
The power box for the rest of your room. There are other key cards will work for that, including if you've got a hotel that uses an RFID key, that radio frequency ID key, the kind that you can kind of wand right next to a hotel room that it unlocks it.
But that's the only one that works.
That's the type that you need to bring, not the magnetic strip type, like a credit card type. What you need is the RFID hotel-style key that you could use in that as an alternative. So we stayed at a Marriott on the way in. They had that type of key. We brought it with us, and we were able to use that so that we didn't have to tie up our cruise card. So just keep that in mind.
So just a note for that. So if you have your card in the box, there will be a light outside your door that says, the card is in the box, do not enter. So your room steward, even though you have makeup room, because the card's in there, he or she may not clean your room. So what we did was we would take it out in the morning, we'd say makeup room, and then we would come back after breakfast, throw the card back in there so that the air would be running throughout the day, because otherwise your air is off and it can get kind of stuffy. Agreed. So just remember, if your key card is in the box, there's a little light outside that they know you're in the room.
There you go.
So, and then also, they don't have a policy against holding chairs. So a lot of ships you'll see signed, if you're not here after 30 minutes, we take your belongings, we move them. That is not the case here. So if you want...
Mark your spot.
Well, if you want a specific spot, you may have to get up early. The hard part is when you've saved a seat and you're sitting there and the towel and chair next to you don't even get visited the entire day, that does get a little frustrating. But if you want to save your spot, they encourage you to. And then if you're gonna have little kids on the ship, I would advise taking a couple water toys for the pool area. You probably wouldn't want a lot, but like something that could
diving
rings or something, especially for the jungle pool. You wouldn't want it for the aqua park, especially if all those cannons were going, because it would just be nuts. But anyway, that would be for that.
Also, another pro tip: you can use your wine vouchers if you pre-purchase bottles of wine. They're going to give you paper vouchers for those, right? Is it paper vouchers?
That's what we got.
So you could take those paper vouchers into the dining room, just ask the maitre d' to exchange a bottle for that, and you could walk out with that bottle, bring it back to your room if you like. So don't feel that you have to keep it.
We don't know that that's the rule, but we did do that. So if you are not able to make it to dinner one evening, because the voucher does say main dining rooms only, and if you know you're not going to be there one night, see if you can ask the maitre d' to help you out.
Yeah.
So that would be great.
And also, make sure that you scan the available food options at the buffet before you commit to it. The Marketplace buffet especially, that's the main buffet on Deck 8. It's got a ton of different options that are on it. They're the same options most days, repeated. But give yourself a chance to look at all of them before you commit, because there are quite a few different options for you to consider. And if you're looking for a little snack at the end of the night, like 10, 11, 12 o'clock, just so you know, the only midnight buffet that they have available is up on Deck 16 at the Biscayne Bay Buffet, or Biscayne Buffet up there. There's going to be fresh pizza that's still going to be they're going to be making that at midnight. You can go up there for a snack. So Deck 16 for the midnight buffet.
Or you can just order room service in your room. I would take when he would go out with our friends, I would take the kids back and we would just get cereal or whatever delivered. But know that the room service menu is pretty limited, and it will probably take 20 to 40 minutes. So order as soon as you get back to your room if you know you want to. Also, it's great to order room service and sit on the balcony. However, if you're sitting on the balcony, make sure you're listening for the door. The poor lady...
You've called the room service.
We called a room service order in, and the poor girl was out there knocking. We were listening, but we just didn't hear it. So I want to quick flip to the shows. When you get on the ship, you can do the MSC For Me app, and you'll have a little ID on your cruise card that you can enter in to get all your information loaded. You can reserve your shows right away. So we would recommend doing that if you're planning to attend the shows every day. Just do it right away. Also, lastly, I want to talk about is these kids' bracelets. So green and red. Red was for 3 to 6. All those kids got red bracelets. All the kids 7 to 11 got green. So green bracelets on the kids' information says they can check themselves in and out. However, when you are filling out the parent information, you can check a box that says, no, I do not want my child checking him or herself in or out. So we did not let our son do that. So, okay, so you're going to get these bracelets. There will be a chip in the bracelet that they actually took back from us. These chips are also like the bracelets that we ordered that we showed you in a previous bracelet. Remember, cut tomato.
Okay. Oh, I don't have any idea what she's referring to. Go to our other videos and check that out.
Anyway. So opens the rooms, and they can open the rooms as well. However, they take the chip back the last night. And so you have to turn that chip back in, and then they will give you this temporary bracelet. Someone advised us to do this. This is a great idea. Do it the night before you have to get off the ship. Otherwise, you have to do it the morning of, and it just will slow your disembarkation process. So again.
And what do the chips cost if you forget to turn those in?
It's like $20. So if you don't turn your chip in, or if you lose it, $20 is added to your shipboard account.
Yeah, it's like an RFID microchip that they embed into it.
And then they let you keep the bracelets, so it's kind of fun. The kids like having those. So one of the things we've shared in another video is the storage space on the Seaside in the cabins is a little small.
Yeah.
So especially for a family of 4 who I try not to overpack, but sometimes I do. So we really found that a couple things, that magnets stick to the side of the walls because everything is steel.
The room's made of steel, so everything's a ferrous metal.
There's magnets that can go on the wall, and they can hang your hats, bathing suits, whatever you need to hang up. So that was really awesome. Speaking of magnets, the other thing that we did was we hung a shower curtain between the kids and our bed. So this was really helpful to give the kids their own space, and then like when I was unpacking or reading or at night when they were sleeping, this was awesome. It really gave them a private area.
So bring a shower curtain. If you bring in family with you, bring a shower curtain and powerful magnets that can hold that shower curtain up to kind of create a partition in the room itself.
Yep. I just had gone to Amazon and looked up heavy-duty magnets.
Yep, so there you go.
We really wanted to give you our good reviews, our bad reviews, and then some tips on what we felt was the best for making our trip great, and hopefully it will help your trip. Ask us any questions if you want. Feel free. We'll do our best to answer those. Again, this was our experience, and we hope that it has been helpful.
So be sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel, and you'll be in the know on the next videos as they become available.
Thanks for watching.
La mano arriba, cintura sola.